Today on Ag Etc., K-State's Dr. Diaz talks about ongoing research with the help of Kansas Soybean about potassium and how it affects soybean yields. Next, we catch up with a Kansas horse trainer down in Fort Worth at the Mustang Heritage Extreme Mustang Makeover. He talks about his training techniques and what goes into training a Mustang for competition in less than 100 days. Then learn how you can see real-time weather data from stations across the state with the K-State's Mezonet program. Then meet Zoe Schultz, an agricultural communications student at K-State and this week's Young Leader in Ag. Learn what BQA is and how it helps the beef producer and the impact it has on the consumer. It's all coming up on Ag Etc. Stay tuned.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
Kansas Farm Bureau has served farm families in rural Kansas for more than 100 years. We're pleased to offer new healthcare coverage choices for Kansans in 2020 through Kansas Farm Bureau Health Plans. No matter what stage of life you're in, we'll have options that fit your lifestyle. Plus, our network of providers is one of the largest available throughout the state of Kansas and beyond. For more information, including the different plans available, or to get a quote, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
Okay, looks like it's time for our tour. Welcome to the Fort Wallace Museum. Here at the museum, you're going to find some really interesting stuff like our replica stagecoach from the Butterfield Overland Dispatch. We've got facades from the fort buildings. We've got an 1870s flag. There's a plesiosaur that was discovered locally. We've got the Ray pump organ collection. We're a little bitty place with a great big story, and we'd love to have you.
This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
Okay, my name is Dorival Ruiz Diaz, soil fertility specialist at Kansas State University. We're talking today about potassium project focusing on potassium nutrition in soybeans. This is a nutrient that has been showing a little bit more limitations in our cropping systems and affecting soybean production. Soybean is a crop that can take up significant amounts of potassium and is definitely one potential limiting factor. Results from the 2019 season show very significant yield increases and economical yield increases in limiting soil potassium conditions. Some of the key findings also is that in-season potassium could be an alternative in situations where we are trying perhaps to rescue a crop with potassium deficiency. One of the key components there is rainfall. If we do have rainfall to incorporate the potassium, we are seeing significant yield increases. Another key finding this year, also very exciting, is the interaction of phosphorus with potassium, which is something that we have the opportunity to evaluate and looking at that synergistic component basically of the two nutrients. We are seeing significant yield increases individually for potassium and for phosphorus in soybeans, but we are basically increasing yields 3 or 4 times where we are combining those nutrients in a situation where we have low testing phosphorus and potassium both. So again, these are some of the findings for this year. We're also doing a survey of the main soil types in the state to bring other components in terms of diagnostic tools, specifically focusing on clay types. So what we're trying to develop is basically a better understanding on the soil types that we have in Kansas, specifically the types of clay, because of the interaction of clay with potassium release and availability to the crop. So that's another key component that we are working on. It's already basically underway, and we hope to develop this detailed evaluation of soils in Kansas. Yes, this particular project I think is a key component, of course, for the overall nutrition for soybean. And in the case of soybean, of course, it's a crop that can take advantage of good soil fertility, residual nutrients in the case of P and K from other crops and so on. But the question is how we can improve overall efficiency and nutrition of soybean with pre-plant applications and in-season applications. So essentially providing a little bit more flexibility for the producers. And again, with the time constraints we have, it's really this time component is always a big question. If we're not able to apply, in this case, phosphorus or potassium in the fall, do we have the opportunity to do it in the spring or even in season? So essentially, that's one of the key components here, is just to make sure, and we are basically looking at all the possible windows that we may have for good nutrition in the case of soybean, and obviously economical yield increases. A key component of this project is evaluating different methods for soil tests. In the case of potassium, there's a lot of exciting new knowledge that we basically have for potassium in the last 5 years or so that is conducive to developing some new improved soil test methods. We do have the traditional methods that we are finding that perhaps are not doing as good of a job in terms of predicting that yield response. So in this project, we are evaluating also new methods that are being developed, and ultimately the question is, are these new methods going to be useful for our production systems, for our soils, and ultimately can we relate these to crop response, yield response in soybean? So that's a key component there, and of course, again, proper soil sampling, but also more importantly, we are using the right methods in the labs that will be more accurate to provide us good information for making decisions.
Highways 40, 83, and I-70 come together right here in Oakley. Roads that lead to businesses, to magnificent rock formations, to scenic vistas, to places where legends were made. Roads that lead us home. Discover Oakley, the gateway to western Kansas.
In the middle of this current challenge, that mission remains unchanged. Our promise has always been to provide relevant, science-based education and information to help you make decisions to maintain and improve your health, build and sustain businesses, grow your community, steward resources, and raise the next generation of capable, responsible, thoughtful community leaders.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Wheat. Learn more at rediscoverwheat.org.
Hi, my name is Brad Dozier with Dozier's Performance Horses. I'm here at the Extreme Mustang Makeover in Fort Worth, Texas. It's been a great year here at the stock show. You know, me and Little Joe Chex here, AKA JoJo is his barn name. We competed here. We did all right. There was a little bit of flukes, a little bit of things that happened during the show that kind of take us out of the top 10, but we're going to go into the sale and see how he sells, and we're going to be doing all right after that. But I'm from Moran, Kansas. I've been training horses for 10 years now. I work for Tatum Rice in Weatherford, Texas. Turner West also as a 2-year-old trainer that worked underneath Tatum at his ranch. All together with Peter DeFreitas, Turner West, and Tatum Rice, I have 2.5 years working underneath trainers. From then I went to Moran back home, started building my ranch there, and now I'm specialized in reining, cutting, colt starting, and also Mustang Makeover. It's a great organization. I love doing it. It's fun to do. It's a great experience for people, young people that want to get started in training. When I start out on my colt starting, I start out with, you know, getting their mindset, getting them calmed down, getting them relaxed, and then I'll start moving into driving them straight. You know, I want these horses to be straight when they finish out. I don't want a whole lot of bend, but yet I want a little bit of bend. Where JoJo, he started out stiff, and then I started working on getting him supple, bending his head left and right. I mean, it's been a good experience for him. He turned out really well. When somebody brings me a horse the first time, I will do groundwork for at least 2 weeks, you know, getting them to move around the round pen, little movement, controlling their feet. There's 3 things that control a horse's mind: moving the feet, redirecting, and inhibiting movement, like hobbles. It all depends on the horse's nature, really. I have a minimum of 3 months. And after that 3 months, I evaluate the horse, and if, you know, depending on what type of training it's going towards. If it's going in reining, it needs to stay longer than 3 months. If it's just colt starting and they're gonna go trail ride or anything on it, yeah, they could take it off and go on. But like cutting, that horse needs to stay in the training for at least a year. A real broke horse is in a training every day, 6 days a week for a year. That's a broke horse. But a true broke horse doesn't get broke till they're 6. But if you can just put the time into it and invest the money, you'll come out with a great horse. You can reach me and find me on Facebook at Dozer's Performance Horses. You can also go on Instagram on Dozer's Performance Horses. You can also contact me at 620-778-4947. I would love to talk with you, have more info you want to talk to me about. It'd be great. You can reach out to me. Love to hear from you.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well on their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we'll be glad to answer and work with you.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
This segment brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Okay, so my name is Christopher Redmond. I am the Kansas Mezonet manager at Kansas State University. We operate 62 weather stations across the state that provide real-time and historical weather data via tools and other resources online for producers and other decision makers in the state. We are able to upgrade Hutchinson, Belleville, Rossville, and Silver Lake in the last 2 years, thanks to help from the Kansas Soybean Group. Those provided critical upgrades at experiment fields, which help producers get better data from these experiment fields and helps the researchers look at dicamba drift and volatility, influence of inversions and winds with that off-target drift. In the future, we're hoping to continue to expand. We hope to upgrade a few more stations to eventually get all our stations to be standardized across the state. And we hope to fill in large data gaps in the state, which are areas we don't have a weather station at right now. And they are also areas, ironically, where there is not much weather data available to begin with. So by providing these additional stations and upgrades, we're able to not only address statewide needs of data availability for drought monitoring and forecasting and nowcasting, but we're also able to provide those producers in those areas with more localized weather data that are representative of their backyard to help them make decisions from planting to spraying to drought implications as well. So this data is hopefully going to grow, and we hope to eventually someday have a county or a station in every county. That's a very long-term goal. Right now we're just trying to grow and reach out to more people, and the data is free to use and publicly available to everyone, and so we want everyone to know it exists and everyone to capitalize on this free resource in the state. So the problem with meteorology and climatology is that a lot of it is based on local factors, and with significant holes in the state, we're not able to get a good database that's representative for the entire state. And so we're making implications and we're implying a lot of things where we've actually never recorded weather data. And so by developing a climatology at these locations, we're able to look at the typical trends in those areas, which go beyond just when someone planted, but to actually look what's the 30-year climatology of the average temperature, soil temperatures being adequate to plant. And so we can make better decisions and also look at the changes over time, which is a big deal right now as we see the temperatures consistently warmer than average over the entire globe. And so by getting an idea of how often that's occurring and how much it's occurring in these areas will help producers make better decisions, but also be able to forecast and predict what they're going to be doing in the next few years. Because as we start to see additional different changes in crops, different cropping patterns, addition of cover crops and all these, but they provide a platform to support this research as well as a better evaluation of where things are going to go in the future. So all the weather data we collect is stored and available publicly, real time and historically on our website at Mezonet, that's spelled MESONET.ksu.edu.
I'm Bob Swartz, and I've devoted the last 43 years to helping Kansans reach their retirement goals and to protect the family farm. At Bob Swartz Financial, we believe everyone should be able to live the retirement they've always dreamed of. Our team of professionals can help you create an efficient strategy using a variety of investment vehicles to help you address your financial needs and your concerns. Bob Swartz Financial values commitment and transparency.
Kansas Farm Bureau has served farm families and rural Kansas for more than 100 years, and we're pleased to offer new healthcare coverage choices for Kansans in 2020 through Kansas Farm Bureau health plans. No matter what stage of life you're in, we'll have options that fit your lifestyle. Plus, our network of providers is one of the largest available throughout the state of Kansas and beyond. For more information, including the different plans available, or to get a quote, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
This segment brought to you by Farm Credit Associations of Kansas, lending support to rural America, and by American Ag Service, your DuPont Pioneer dealer.
I'm Britton Rucker, and this is Ag AM in Kansas. We have our Young Leaders in Ag segment, and with me now I have Zoe Schultz. Zoe, what is your background in the ag industry?
Awesome. So I came from a fourth-generation farm near Greenfield, Kansas, out in western Kansas. I wasn't in FFA or 4-H just because I was so busy on the farm, and it was 30 minutes to town, and my dad was like, I'd rather put you in the grain cart. So I didn't do anything like that. I went to Colby Community College, so I got my associate's degree in a year, which was really overwhelming because I didn't know if I wanted to stay home or come to K-State. So last fall, just last semester, I spent my semester at home. I did online classes and helped my dad, and I just didn't know whether I wanted to stay home. And I finally decided that I wanted more experience in the industry, and I kind of wanted to go away before coming back home. Yeah. So I just transferred to K-State, and I'm technically a first semester junior. I major in ag communications, and then I'm minoring in agronomy. I want to take some leadership classes as well. that's kind of my background.
So really, what led you to Ag Comm?
My semester at home taught me that farmers are so humble and they're not going to share their story.
Yeah.
So my associate's is in ag business. I really wanted to just go home and farm. So I got it in ag business. And when I was home this semester, I realized that my dad isn't sharing his story. He's actually a seedsman too. And so in order for me to communicate with him, if I would go home and take over that business, I needed to have some of those skills, as well as I just wanted to tell the story of rural Kansas and how they're feeding the world. So yeah.
And you really have, firsthand experience of working on the farm.
Yeah. So I'm technically my dad's son. He doesn't have any sons, obviously, so it's me and my sister. So I've been the combine operator. I can drive semi. Not good, so don't tell that I can do that. Grain cart.
Yeah.
So I help him with the seed business too, and I really like talking with producers and helping them select the right hybrids.
Yeah.
So
K-State was naturally your second step.
And Fort Hays is who I took classes through this last semester, but they didn't have AgCom, and so when I kind of decided I wanted to do that, I was like, okay, K-State's probably the one.
Yeah.
And all my friends were here. So if I was going to go away for those 2 years, I wanted to go where there's people around me. Yeah.
And you kind of mentioned this, but where do you see yourself in the industry?
I want to go home, whether that's farming full-time or working remote, doing something in publications, possibly doing some traveling, promoting farmers, because they're not going to technically get off the farm unless their wife is really active and proactive in that. So I'm really not sure. I'm kind of leaving my options open. There's always a place for me at home
and you're just getting your feet wet.
At K-State, too.
At K-State, exactly.
I currently intern at the Kansas Department of Agriculture, so I work with their marketing and advocacy team. In the summer, I'll be in Manhattan, too, with Kansas Corn.
So how did you get in connection with that internship?
With KDA, I just had a friend send it to me who had interned there before, and she's like, I think it's a good fit for you.
Yeah.
Just transitioning here, I was like, no, I'm taking classes a lot of hours, and I didn't want to stress myself.
Right.
So I was like, no, it's fine. I'm not going to. And then she's like, you got to. So I did it, and I like it. And then this summer, I had just applied for it. I had just seen it online, and I thought, Kansas Corn is something that's statewide. It's not just in Manhattan, so if I ever wanted to go home, it would be something that there might be a place for me in it.
Right.
And obviously Kansas Corn is really active on our farm as well. So that's why I chose it. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
A big thank you to Zoe Schultz for being on our Young Leaders in Ag segment. I'm Britton Rucker, and this is Ag AM in Kansas.
At Farm Credit, we partner with America's farmers who work hard each and every day to grow the food that we all enjoy. It's not an easy task, but it's an important one. Farm Credit is proud to work with farmers and ranchers, lending support in rural America.
Welcome to the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in my hometown of Oakley, Kansas. We're the front door of Western Kansas, located on 3 main highways, I-70, US 83, and US 40. And all those roads lead to history, beautiful scenery, and adventure, no matter which direction you go. We now have an IHOP. That brand that you've trusted up and down the road in all your travels is staffed with local folks, real people, just like you and me, and we're waiting on you to join us. So for fun, adventure, fuel up, fuel your body, and let's have some fun.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook. Let us help feed your family.
The Beef Quality Assurance Program, or BQA for short, helps producers stay up on best management practices, and that builds consumer confidence.
BQA certification is important not only to help you as you manage your ranch, just to make sure you're up on the latest standards and guidelines that we cover in the program, but it also really positively impacts consumer confidence. And we see more and more supply chain interest as well. So big buyers of cattle and beef are interested in knowing that producers are taking the time and initiative to get BQA certified.
The program has roots 40 years old, but it's continually updated for today's standards with an eye on tomorrow.
A lot of folks think about BQA as being where to place that injection, but we've really expanded the program to include a lot more information. And just the latest science, we're constantly upgrading our material, making sure that it's backed by the latest research.
White says this isn't the same program as 10 or 20 years ago, so if it's been a long time since certification, producers should visit online resources to find out how to become currently active.
I would encourage anyone that is not currently actively BQA certified, if it's been more than 3 years, look for a training in your state or online. Both of those are options. You can go to bqa.org and click on your state. It'll tell you if there are state in-person certification opportunities available. It'll give you the contact information for your state coordinator. And also you can always go to bqa.org and look for our online platform and get certified that way.
When you take care to assure beef quality, it only makes sense to safeguard that all the way to the packing plant. And that's the latest expansion.
We recently rolled out the BQA transportation training. So anybody that's transporting cattle directly to a packer, I would really encourage them to go online and add that to their certification repertoire because a lot of the packers are requiring that as of January 1 for anybody bringing cattle direct to them.
The regular series of national beef quality audits since 1991 help keep BQA on track or show opportunities for fine-tuning.
As we do these national beef quality audits every 5 years, we see areas where we've improved over the years because of beef quality assurance training. We know, for instance, that we're reducing injection site lesions, which adds value back to those carcasses. We know that the severity of bruising has gone down, so that means less trim, more value in that carcass, and ultimately more value for those fed cattle. So, we constantly update that content based on what those national beef quality audits tell us, and we're educating on areas that we can improve the value that every producer drives into the supply chain.
I'm Bob Cervera.
Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agaminkansas.com.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.